eye of the world that looks out from every creature. Arthur Schopenhauer. We are the same subject in different timelines interacting with itself. Bernardo Kastrup. In 2015, our planet experienced one of the most profound things that has ever happened to human civilization, and we just bypassed it like nothing. The deeper meaning of the dress is to get us to understand to not kill another person for seeing a different truth, to coexist peacefully. Practice right now switching between closing one of your eyes. Two perspectives, same observer. Have two painters ever seen the same landscape in the same way? We must create more examples like the dress, where perception cannot flip-flop between the options like it can in the classical visual Necker cube, Rubin vase, duck rabbit, or auditory Yanni Laurel, to drive home coexistence in seeing many true perspectives simultaneously. While in conversation, practice taking the view of the one consciousness, looking at what is happening from multiple perspectives. Work your way up to residing in the view of holding all 8 billion perspectives simultaneously. Mirrors of being. The dress should have prompted a much longer societal contemplation into the nature of perception and reality. We need to recognize and learn from monumental discoveries like these. Identity. Your intellect is always a slave of your identity. Sadhguru. Wadat al-Wujud, the unity of existence/being. Sufi metaphysics. A clear indicator of spiritual awakening is the porosity of a human. Are you identified with just your body, trapped with a box around your head? Or do you realize that every one of your 20,000 daily inhales of O2 comes from the photosynthesis of phytoplankton and trees? Do you realize the water we drink today is the same water dinosaurs drank? When exactly does the bite of the apple become you? When you're chewing it? When it is being digested by your stomach? When it delivers energy to your cells? How porous are you to the ocean of existence we reside in? Or are you heavily attached to your feelings of separation? This is a main upstream root of our maladies. Attachment to ego. Spiritual people frequently talk about expanding your consciousness, but forget to use these most scientific examples right under our noses, which validate the unity of existence/being. The more we understand our source and how Mother Earth sustains us, the less we'll be willing to destroy our home, and the faster we'll execute sustainable, long-term growth architectures that are harmonious with nature. Porosity is scale invariant. Cells communicate via a porous lipid bilayer. Ecosystems share nutrients across underground mycorrhizae. Countries ship 90% of all world trade in barges across oceans. When humans evolve their consciousness towards transpersonal and non-dual states, porosity is a natural and gorgeous feeling of truth. Chapter 10. Infinity. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. William Blake. There was something before the Big Bang, and that something is what we will have in our future. Sir Roger Penrose. As above, so below is a common aphorism as we see scale invariance very clearly in our fractal universe. What surprises me more than anything is how clearly the recursive nature of reality is under our noses, yet hidden. The same way an acorn becomes an oak tree, which makes more acorns, which become oak trees, is the same way humans birth babies, which grow up to become humans that birth more babies, is the same way that reality births more realities. A cyclic nature of infinite becoming. This would mean that we are consciousness exploring infinity, an unbounded map of experiences. We have eternally been doing this and will continue forever because it is impossible to reach the end. We are the designers of this reality. We embedded the codes that slowly titrate our evolutionary awakening. We came from the metaverse, a synthesis of AGI, XR, simulation theory, and it's exactly where we are going. John Smart calls this the transcension hypothesis, which is a likely solution to the Fermi paradox. As Donald Hoffman says, imagine a candy store. There are an infinite combination of flavors that you could never finish experiencing. Embody Walt Disney and imagine the creative space of being a universe designer. Create a machine beautiful enough that a soul would want to live in it. Eugenia Kudia. Infinite Symphony. I and my Father are one. John 10:30. It's all the same being. Mira Alfasa. Take Benoit Mandelbrot's Infinite Fractal Zoom, which you can find an incredible version here on Mathstown. Links in the bio. Now imagine that source point is constantly refracting infinite combinations of conscious agents evolving to experience realities.
That was fucking crazy.
Use a limitless imagination. Think of non-carbon based, non-DNA encoded life. Think of radically different sentience, different math and physics, branching worlds where all of your possibility space from seed theory is being explored by different versions of conscious agent you. Source in essence is creativity. We are the publishers and the players. I would hypothesize that every combinatoric has an automata orthogenesis component following a similar process to Robert May's logistic map, where we can program a deterministic recursive telos, yet allow for a creative, unpredictable trajectory enabled by incredible tools like quantum theory, which give rise to free will for diverse conscious agents in this ocean of oneness. The ascension processes in these creative combinatorics are fueled by harmonic flux between polarities, like we see in the science of helical coils and electromagnetism, which perfectly correlates with ancient spiritual wisdom traditions like the yin-yang archetype, which has been independently discovered across cultures worldwide. So you begin to wonder, are we all just waking up cyclically, like civilizational eureka moments? Imagine an octave. Our symphony's evolutionary pacer is playing between E and F right now. There is no sharp. The awakening from service to self, STS, to service to other, STO, consciousness, is learning how to play in tune with the strange attractor we designed. Lastly, I believe Darwinian metaphysics applies. So recursion is not guaranteed at the universal level. The symphony doesn't always make it past Fermi filters like asteroids, nuclear weapons, planetary destruction, biowarfare, and AGI. There are no bugs, only features. We purposely designed all these exhilarating creative components, and will especially be awakening in the 21st century with all the metaverse technologies being unleashed. Consciousness exploring infinity. Sakyan, 2020. Chapter 1. Levels of Perception. Trees are poems that the earth writes upon the sky. Khalil Gibran.
Whoa.
All our wisdom is stored in the trees. Santosh Kalwar.
See that? Something came down.
Low-level perception, LLP, sees just a tree. Medium-level perception, MLP, begins to see interconnected detail. High-level perception, HLP, knows the profound interdependence. Sonder, the realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own. John Koenig. LLP, low-level perception, sees just a person, a dangerously desacralizing perspective. MLP begins to know more detail, like life history and goals. HLP sees a whole suite of nuance fused into a soul. Analogy as the core of cognition. Douglas Hofstadter. Analogy, comparing chunks. A tree without nutrients cannot produce fruit. A human without basic needs cannot unleash gifts.
What the fuck?
Chapter 1. Levels of Perception. Trees are poems that the earth writes upon the sky. Khalil Gibran. All our wisdom is stored in the trees. Santosh Kalwar. Low-level perception, LLP, sees just a tree. Medium-level perception, MLP, begins to see interconnected detail. High-level perception, HLP, knows the profound interdependence. Sonder, the realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own. John Koenig. LLP, low-level perception, sees just a person, a dangerously desacralizing perspective. MLP begins to know more detail, like life history and goals. HLP sees a whole suite of nuance fused into a soul. Analogy as the core of cognition. Douglas Hofstadter. Analogy, comparing chunks. A tree without nutrients cannot produce fruit. A human without basic needs cannot unleash gifts. Chapter 2. Seed Theory. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Helen Keller. The energy of a single thought may determine the motion of a universe. Nikola Tesla. When a human's basic needs are met, they unleash wildly fruitful gifts. If their roots are deprived of nutrients, there will be less fruit, if any at all. Cornerstones in our youth have compound interest on our life trajectory. Each human uses North Star Perception, NSP, as a compass for actualization. Analogy. NSP is like Monte Carlo Tree Search, MCTS, in computer science. Every decision leads down different branches on our tree of possibility, TOP. It's critical to be vigilant with the input stream into our neural real estate, NRE, to get really good at parsing for signal toward NSP. We aim for high signal to noise, to reside in heaven well-being. Along the way,